more, and then that money is building while you're at home. That money is building over time that you'll be able to use for anything you want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's definitely hitting on another key point, which is that when you're living below your means to begin with, and you become accustomed to questions like perfect example. Right now, this minute, I could walk out the front door, and I could walk into a Mercedes dealer and I pull up my checkbook and I could buy a freaking S-Class if I wanted, right? But what I'm driving around is sufficient for me. And by the way, I'm a car guy, right? So, I know what kind of transmissions this have and the suspensions and all that stuff. I know all about those things. And what am I driving? I'm driving a used Honda Fit, right? It's a tiny little car with a little four-cylinder engine in it, and it gets 35 miles to the gallon, and it's reliable, and it runs. And even though I'm a car guy and I want something fun, Subaru WRX-TS, whatever they are, that would be really awesome. But it's like, really all I do is haul my fat butt around with a bunch of magazines, and go and buy burritos or something. So, I don't really need to do that. And my friends don't care. That's the other thing, is that the friends that I have, they don't care. They're not going to be impressed if I showed up with a Mercedes. Actually, the very first thing my friend would probably say is something like, "You wasted your money on that piece of junk?" That's what he would say. I know that's what he would say. So, they wouldn't be impressed by it, and I equally, would be like, well, that's nice, but you're going to have a lot of repair bills. That would be my response. So, if you can keep your spending under control and keep your mind from wandering around, gosh, I'm trying to impress my friends, or, gosh, I'm trying to impress this friend or whatever. It's like, I'll bet you if you could read in their minds, they really wouldn't care. They're busy, reading their own, they're in their own head. They're not paying much attention to anybody else.
Right.
So you're on the track. You're on the right track there.
Yeah, and once again, we have Paul Davis on the line talking about financial independence. This is a gentleman that, without a college degree, being a manager with stock options, having that freedom that you're able to have, and reading your bio, you've invested or been an investor for over 25 years. It's to me, it's amazing to be able to talk to people that have done it. Not necessarily. It's good to talk to people who are doing it with you, but someone that has done it, that has lived it. To me, that's inspiration to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that you are able to complete this and achieve these financial goals that you have.
Yeah, absolutely you can. I believe most anybody can. It's getting, one of the things is not being impatient, and then, of course in this world we're, all on our phones and tapping away and texting with everybody every second. So it's being, not being impatient, being able to ride through the dips and the going up and all that. And that's the thing is that people get very scared about that, and they think it's some kind of a bug, and it's like, well, it's not a bug at all. It's a feature. It's part of the whole thing. It's you get on a roller coaster, you're going to be jumping up and down, and turning upside down. You're not going to go from point A to point B flat.
Right. Yeah, it's one thing Dave Ramsey also says. I'm not. Hopefully, I'm not saying too many Ramsey-isms as well. But,
no, that's okay. I actually like about 90% of what he has to say. I really do think, and the parts that I don't like are not, they're not bad things. They're just, I would do it differently kind of thing.
Yeah. But a crock pot and not a microwave. A microwave, you get it quick. You put it in there for a minute, it's done. Crock pot, it takes time. It's a process. It's not overnight. And that to me is the underlining thing of reaching, I think, any goals, if that's financial or otherwise.
Yeah, and we've all had the experience of, it's 2 a.m. and we're like, oh, I don't want to bake this pizza, forget it. So you put it in the microwave oven, and what do you have? You have cheese that tastes like rubber, right? You don't, it's hot, sure, but it's not something edible.
Right, exactly. So talk about the steps that we can take to get to where we want to go, and also how can your online gigs on Fiverr help to build wealth and financial independence?
Sure. So some of the steps, I've kind of outlined already, which is that, where possible, maybe do something, kind of Dave Ramsey-ish and consolidate all your credit cards to the cheapest one as best you can, and then figure out how to get on the plan, that you can follow. Maybe, there's tools online that will help you, plunk in the numbers, and then, you can plunk in how much money you want to put towards your debt and start, bringing that down. I would definitely, if you can do something like this, and this is going to make people crazy, but if you could take your credit card out of your wallet and leave it somewhere else, like at home in a drawer, right? And the first couple of times you do that, you're going to go bonkers. But it's like, okay, well, take the cash out and pay in cash. It's like, okay, I got to go buy gas. Okay, well, consider that. And it's like, okay, well, I want to buy some beer. Okay, great, that's fine. I don't think people should live under rocks. And just kind of try to budget yourself, and then by keeping the credit card away, it's you're not inclined to be somewhere and go, oh yeah, hey, I want to go and buy this or that or whatever. And if you want to go out to dinner, great. Budget for that to a degree. Say, okay, we're not going to go out this Saturday. We're going to go out the following Saturday. Or at the end of the month or something. That kind of a thing. So there's a little bit of a budgeting thing there, and there's plenty of, I'm not even going to point you to them. There's plenty of tools online. You Need a Budget's a really good one that you can find online. So there's tools out there for that.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, YNAB. Yeah. I've downloaded it. I've played with it. I don't use it because I have it kind of in my head, so I don't really so much need to do that. But I've played with it and thought, wow, why couldn't have I had this back when I was like, 20? That would have been really awesome. But trying to get rid of your credit cards is like the best thing. And then trying to build up I would say more than 6 months. I would say a year of your necessary expenses. So, rent, internet, utilities, transportation, that kind of thing. And then that allows you to really have a lot more flexibility, and also it reduces stress because, like I said before, you can be sitting there, whether you're in an office or behind the wheel of a truck or a desk or whatever, and you really can think to yourself, when my boss comes at me and says, oh, hey, we're going to need you to work, on Saturday for 12 hours, and no, we're not really going to pay you anymore. You can say to yourself, do I really want to do this, or do I want to push back, or do I want to just say no? And just the ability to make that thought in your head as opposed to, oh my God, I totally have to do this because I've got 15 bills to Sunday and, that kind of thing, that really reduces stress. So those are two things. And then lastly, I would say the last one is start going to online brokerage firm and look at the tools that they have available. And actually, one more thing is online you can get for free Eric Tyson's book Investing for Dummies, and that's it's a kind of dry thing, but it's the Dummies books. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
Oh, yeah,
the big yellow books. Yeah. And they're really good, and they go into more depth and detail. And they, like I said, they can be a little dry, but it's like, there it is for free. Just go ahead and spend some time reading it, and there you go. So don't spend less than you make. Don't get into credit cards or get rid of them, and then automatically with direct deposit, take some of your cash and put it to another account and start building wealth that way.
Yeah, and it may be slow. I have a interactive show. I have somebody mentioning in the chat room here. He's making sense. It's definitely hard to do though. And I responded to him just saying, I hear you, bro. I'm on step 2. I mean, it's like, it is going to take a minute, but I think at snail pace, as long as we're moving, you'll get there. There's some people where it takes 32 months to pay off however much debt they have, or it may take years, however how long it takes. If we're moving in the right direction, that's my motto. As long as I'm moving in the right direction.
That's just it. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm let's say I'm $10,000 in debt this month, and then next month I'm maybe 9,950 or something. But the number's going down.
Right.
And when the number does finally get to zero, there's a thing that I don't know if you're aware of that used to be a regular thing, and people don't do this anymore. It's called a mortgage burn party or something. I can't remember what the right word is. And what it was is that right, when your parents paid the last payment on their mortgage, and whoever it is that's holding it at the bank sends the title to you, right, through the mail. And all of a sudden, you've got the title in your hand. There was a huge party. People would have a huge party, and then they'd burn in the fireplace or whatever. They'd burn their mortgage papers, right?
Yeah.
And so do something like that. Have this huge party, which you've already paid for, with your friends. This is like my last credit card's done. I'm at $0, and that's going to be a huge relief. The flexibility that you'll have at that point, even if you haven't got the money yet, the saving of the money, you've got step one completed, and 30% of America has no money or is in negative money. So, you're already ahead.
Right. You've given yourself a raise. You think about the raise that you're going to give yourself when you're completely done. That is what I'm looking forward to. That raise that you don't have to ask somebody for. You gave it to yourself.
Yeah, and not only that, but also the stress levels just drop into the floor. All that goes away. I have no debt right now. I have no boss chewing on my butt. Let me tell you, that alone is worth everything. Even if I did nothing else, just not having them, like, oh, well, you didn't, put the right phrasing in that trouble ticket, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? You have to chew on me for that?
Yeah, is that really what we're doing?
Yeah, right. Do I look like an English major? No.
Right. And talk about your gigs that you have on Fiverr and how those can help.
Absolutely. So, that's fiverr.com/ONEMFI 2018. And basically at the moment I have 5 of them. So there's a forecasting gig where I talk about what the market, basically that's a 2-piecer. What it does is I talk about what the market has done in the past. And then you can select a 1-month, 3-month, or 12-month forecast, and I go into what I believe the next time period is going to look like, given the metrics that I read and things like that. That one's pretty popular. The next one I have is How I Became a Millionaire for Beginners, and that's another one that has a part 1, part 2, and part 3. And so I go into more depth about some of the topics I brought on here. But I also go into, much greater depth around, exactly the steps that I took and exactly the things that worked and exactly the things that didn't work. I mean, after 25 years, I can tell you I've done damn near every investing F-up that's possible to do. And I've just done a whole bunch of things that, I think I burned through $70,000 screwing things up. So, this allows you to not spend $70,000 to do the same things that I did. So I go through those, and then I have basically a third one where it's also a 3-piecer, and I show parts of my portfolio, some of the shares, some more of the shares, and then the final one I show my entire portfolio, and I discuss what the securities are, the stocks, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, and so forth. The metrics I used, the secret formulas I used to decide which ones I was going to have or not have, and how they fit into the portfolio and what my expectations are, and so forth. And then I also in that one go over what I call the global millionaire mindset around, how do I compose my life, how do I compose my portfolio in order to, continue and strengthen this process. So, and I touched today on some of those here.
Definitely. So visit the website. It is fiverr.com. One spelled out MFI 2018. You can find the link in the chat room. It's also on my social media as well at BS3 Sports. So I want to thank you, Paul, for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Real quick before I do let you go, being that it is a sports show, I do just have to ask you, what sports do you follow? Do you have any teams that you pay attention to? I know you said you're a car guy, so talk about that for a couple of seconds.
Sure. Sports team-wise, I'm kind of actually more in hockey right now because I have a friend, and so I'm kind of following the Ducks. Not very closely, though. I tend to watch that more with her. So, car-wise, I like old cars, like old Alfa Romeos and things like that. I don't own anything like that yet, but once I do get to retirement, I'm going to go find one that's in pretty good condition and maybe restore it.